We only have one planet on which to live and prosper and flourish. Yet, when we measure our economic activity and think about our prosperity, we use GDP, which doesn't take account of the effect we're having on nature. Growth in GDP is seen as good for society, even in countries like Ireland, where austerity has made social problems like inequality worse. We might be spending more on private hospitals because we're worried about worsening public health care, but this spending will show up as a positive GDP. Neither does GDP measure when bad things happen in nature. In fact, detrimental things like unsustainable resource extraction can also add to our GDP. There are better ways of measuring progress. Ireland can be proud of being top of the Doing Good Index. We know how to contribute to making the world better, but we need a system that supports this. The Social Progress Index looks beyond GDP to take account of social and ecological well-being. It measures how well our system supports our human needs, our health, and our spaces for flourishing and opportunity. It takes account of our one planet. We hear it as good news if our country is returning to economic growth after the crisis. We believe it to mean that the country is recovering. But we need to ask what we're recovering from and what we want now. Is this a recovery of our needs, not just GDP growth, but social progress, health, well-being and ecological sustainability? We need to think about where we get our information about progress. The media and our political system tells us that GDP is the benchmark of success, despite its flaws. We depend enormously on media for our current affairs information, but we need to think critically about how the processes of our economy and the drive to create wealth and growth can also influence our media and the shape of the information we receive. The same people who benefit from growth and consumption also have interests in what news we receive about the economy and the environment. Our newspapers show us stories from countries affected by climate change, while advertising the latest cars alongside them. Our TV stations depend on product advertising to keep giving us the news. It can be difficult for us to square stories that tell us to consume as usual with worrying news about the health of our planet. We must think deeply about who has shaped the news that we receive about the economy and whose interests this serves. We can think about what's not said, news of economic growth and silence on the ecological consequences. We need to start talking about progress and prosperity that's sensible and sustainable for our one planet.